The next X file in the folder is the crate.x, so we'll do something similar. We'll call it my crate, hit return. The crate is going to be an object, so we press 2. We want to give it a default AI, which means we don't want it to actually do anything. A crate doesn't do much thinking in its existence, so we use default.fpi. We can correct the orientation on the y-axis and also correct the y position of an entity. I'll show you this later when we come to creating doors. For now, the default is 0. Scale we keep to 100, and as I stated, you can also correct the axis, but by default we'll keep that at 0. We want our crate to be dynamic or dynamic, so we press 0. Material, it will be made of wood, so we select 3 and hit return. Collision is going to be a box, which keeps the performance nice and fast. Strength, we do want to destroy this crate, so we'll give it a strength of 25. Immobile, no, because we want it to move around, we can carry it and make stacks of crates with them, so we'll select no, hit return. Sound, we don't need sounds for the crate because it doesn't do anything, so we'll hit return and hit return again. Texture name, now I've created 2 sample textures in the raw assets. I've called them red.tga and green.tga. You can imagine what they look like. So we'll choose green.tga, hit return. Anim frames, the crate doesn't have any animations, so we select 0, that's the default. Again, we shall create a thumbnail of our crate. The first thing we need to do is to find a good angle. Yeah, that looks quite nice. And hit the spacebar. The next one is door, so we'll call it my door. It is an object, sorry. Autodoor.fpi will give it the intelligence of being able to sense the player's presence and then open and close respectively. Correct Y position. Now we add 50 to raise the door up in the world on the Y-axis. If you didn't do this, the door would appear to be stuck halfway into the floor, so we use 50. Scale, we keep it at 100. We don't need to correct the Y-axis, so we put that as the default of 0. Static, well, we do want it to be a dynamic, moving, animating element of the game, so it's dynamic. Material, it is a metal door, so we select 2. Collision, a box, so it's nice and fast. Strength, we want it indestructible, so we put 0. Immobile, yes, so we select 1. Sound, we do want the sound of the door, so we'll type this out. Audio bank, sci-fi, scenery, doors, lock, .wav. And of course you can use your own sound effects and use the user folder in audio bank instead of sci-fi. And we also want the sound effect when the door closes, so again, audio bank, sci-fi, scenery, doors, close.wav. Hit return. Texture, this time we'll choose red, so red.tga. Now I know for a fact that this X file has 30 frames of animation. 15 frames will open the door and 15 frames will close the door. Now the autodoor.fpi logic will just use the first 15 frames to open the door and then reverse those 15 frames to close the door again. So I shall choose 15, that is 15 frames of animation from that X file, and hit return. Finally, we adjust the view a little and hit space. The next entity is health, so my health. It is a health entity, so we select 6. The health is made out of glass, so we choose 4. Scale 100. We shall keep the health item immobile, so yes. Texture name, we'll choose green, because it's good for you. Decal glow, we'll keep it at the default for now, but you can change that so you can have a different pattern on the floor. And finally we adjust and zoom in to get a good big thumbnail. Hit space to continue. Next one, my item. It is an item, so we select 3. Material, it's made out of metal, so we select 2. Collision, keep it to the box so it's nice and fast. Explodable, yes, let's make it explodable. Scale, 100. Correct y-axis, 0, the default. Strength, we will want to destroy this in order to explode it, so we'll give it a strength of 25. Immobile, no, so it can be moved around and carried. Texture name, we'll go for red because it's dangerous. And again, zoom in, adjust the Y a little and rotate a little. Spacebar. My person. Character. This character is female, as you'll see when we zoom out. So we select female. Scale of 100, keep it at the default. Correct y-axis, yes, because all the character models in FPS-C are rotated in such a way that you need to rotate them by 180 degrees to correct them, so they face in the same direction that they would walk. So you select 180, hit return. Cone view angle, this is where the description of how much of the area the character can see. So a value of 10 would create a very narrow field of detection, a very useless eye, and 180 would be able to see everywhere, everything from pure left to pure right. So we'll choose something a bit reasonable, 60. Texture name, red. Decal shoot, that is the decal that will be used when the character fires their weapon. So red is sort of like a red flash, so we'll use red. And again we'll use blood as the default. This is the decal that's used when you hurt the entity and they spill the life-giving property. Strength, yes, we do want to do damage to this character, so it's 100. Weapon holding, we'll stick to the default until we have our own weapon creations. Can take the weapon when you kill the entity? No, we'll keep that off. And finally, we move, adjust our female statue and hit space. Now we do the last one, I think. It's the last one. My switch. Switch is type 7, so we select 7. Scale of 100. Correct y-axis, we don't need to. Material, it's made of metal, so we press 2. Default height. This is how far up the wall the switch is going to be placed, so the default for a switch is 50. We do want a sound when we use this, so we go into Audio Bank, Switches, Activate, wow, hit return. Texture name, we'll use a green when the switch is in the first mode, the on mode or the off mode, it's all relative. Hit return, and the alternative texture is what happens after you've switched it, so we'll go to the red texture. Anim frames. If your model contains animations, it will use the animations to indicate the switching A to B, up, down, left, right, etc. We don't have any animations in this model, so we'll choose 0. And finally, we zoom in for a nice, descriptive thumbnail picture and hit space. And one more, my weapon. We choose weapon number 4. It is a metal object, so we choose 2. Scale, keep it by default. Path to the gun, again we use one we know exists. Hit return. We'll keep it immobile, yes. Decal glow, we'll keep to the default glow. And finally adjust with the up arrow key and hit the spacebar. And there we're done. That means it's gone through all the X files in the folder, and we are ready to test in the FPS Creator interface.